I was nursing a quiet Friday night dinner in my cozy kitchen in Seattle, picking at a slice of thick crust pepperoni pizza I'd thrown together from scratch. Extra cheese, the way Mom used to make it back in Spokane. The rain pattered against the window like it always does this time of year, a soothing backdrop to my solo unwind after crunching numbers all week. That's when my iPad buzzed on the counter, the notification glow cutting through the dim light like a rude interruption. It was from Elena's feed, my wife of 7 years, the queen of Instagram Reels and TikTok spotlights, always chasing that viral high with her art world conquests. She'd drag me into frames for the power couple vibe, but tonight? The video thumbnail hit me like a gut punch. No fancy gallery backdrop, no champagne flutes clinking under Edison bulbs. Just Elena in this killer emerald cocktail dress that hugged her curves like it was painted on, her dark curls tumbling wild and free, laughing in a way that lit up the screen brighter than any filter could. And there, right beside her, was Julian Hayes, the slick creative director I'd greenlit 2 years ago when we bootstrapped Voss Visions with my savings and her sketches. In the clip, he drops to one knee on what looks like the deck of a rooftop bar downtown, maybe that spot in Belltown with the skyline view, holding up a necklace that catches the city lights like a damn sapphire supernova. The caption overlay hits. He popped the question. I said yes, to forever adventures. My pizza slice slipped from my fingers, landing cheese side down on the linoleum with a sad splat, sauce blooming like blood. We'd shared coffee that very morning in our Belltown loft, her quick peck on the cheek, distracted by her phone, promising she'd be home early for movie night. Love you, babe, she'd murmured, already halfway out the door in yoga pants and a hoodie. Now this? The internet was eating it up. Hearts and fire emojis raining down from her 50K followers. My brain, wired from years as a data analyst at that fintech startup in Pioneer Square, froze for a beat, then kicked into overdrive. Denial? Nah. Action. I screenshotted everything. The video, comments, timestamps, my hands steady despite the hammer in my chest. Then, on autopilot, I typed a reply in the comments. Congrats, Elena, CCing our family attorney for the record. Hit post. Watched it ripple out like a stone in Puget Sound. The backlash was instant. Her profile lit up with notifications, strangers piling on, drama alert. Is this real? But her direct message pinged first. Pick up the phone now, Alex. Delete that comment. You're embarrassing me in front of everyone. This is about the business, not us, not our marriage. The business. Voss Visions, the boutique design firm we'd built from her wild ideas and my spreadsheets. I ignored it, heart pounding but mind laser focused, and started a Google Doc titled Timeline. Every text, every share, every heartbeat logged. Memories lie, metadata doesn't. 10 minutes later, poof, her video vanished, scrubbed like it never happened. Mine? Backed up to 3 clouds. In the eerie quiet, I pulled up the old partnership agreement from the shared drive, the one I'd pushed for after sinking $150K of our nest egg into her dream. She'd fought it tooth and nail. You don't trust me, Alex. But damn if I wasn't grateful now. 65% mine, 35% hers. Initial investments repaid first. IP, client lists, social handles, all locked under the LLC. I fired off an email. Status confirmation. Elena, please confirm our marital status for legal docs. Best, Alex. Cool as Cascadia fog. Her response? A barrage of voicemails, voice cracking from fury to plea. You're killing me here. Answer me. Straight to voicemail jail. I locked down our joint Chase accounts via the app. Transaction alerts routed to me only. Any Voss Visions spend flagged. That ordinary night, Fortress mode activated. By midnight, the storm clouds were rolling in thicker than the weather outside. The doorbell shattered the silence around 11 p.m., a sharp trill that echoed off the exposed brick walls. I checked the ring cam. Elena, still in that emerald number, hair wind-whipped from the drizzle, fists clenched at her sides. Alex, open up, we need to talk. I stayed put in the home office, door cracked just enough to hear her heels stabbing the welcome mat. This is our home too, you know. My voice came out even, projected through the intercom. Deeds say otherwise tonight, Elle. Not happening. She banged harder. You're blowing this out of proportion. That video? It was a rough cut, not supposed to go live yet. You've humiliated me. My followers think I'm some cheater now. You announced an engagement to your art director while wearing my ring? She rattled the knob. Locked. Code changed an hour ago. The red light blinked mockingly on the panel. You changed the damn code? What the hell, Alex? Her voice splintered, anger edging into panic. Protecting what's mine. You'd call it smart risk management. She scoffed, but it rang hollow. You think you can play this cold? People are going to see you as the jealous psycho. Let them watch the replay. It's all archived. A beat of silence, then her eyes, sharp even through the grainy feed, narrowed like she was plotting chess moves. You'll regret this. Big time. She spun on those heels, stormed to her Audi, tires squealing into the wet night. The loft went tomb quiet, but the air hummed with the thunder yet to break. Morning hit like a freight train, my phone exploding with alerts before the sun cracked the Olympics silhouette. First up, a $3,200 charge at that high-end atelier on First Avenue, all silk scarves and statement pieces Elena swore she'd invest in for client schmoozing. Then, $6,100 dropped on a last-minute ticket to Maui. Studio card, natch for some inspo retreat that smelled like a getaway with Loverboy. I fired off the deets to our lawyer, Liam Torres, a no-nonsense shark from Capitol Hill who'd handled our incorporation back when Voss Visions was just a napkin sketch over IPAs at Pike Place. Block everything Aurora Tide, I texted. Freeze and flag. His reply pinged back in seconds. On it. Screenshots, gold for the paper trail. I forwarded the lot, fingers flying, then watched the app light up with a blocked $9,400 swipe at a luxe furniture spot, mid-century modern, probably to deck out her new creative lair. Mid-morning, my cell rang with an unknown number. Theo Langford, the big shot collector who'd bankrolled our first big install at the Seattle Art Museum. Voice like aged bourbon. Alex, my man, what's the word? Julian just hit me up, all charm and urgency. Says he's stepping up as CEO at Radiant Horizon, wants my contract flipped their way, stat. Sound kosher? Ice water in my veins. Hell no, Theo. Give me 24 hours. I'll send ironclad proof it's a shell game. He chuckled, low and knowing. Figured. Kid's pitch was too polished. Hate a salesman in sheep's clothing. I hung up and dove into the back-end dashboard, heart jackhammering. There it was, a week's worth of client database exports, funneled to some off-site Dropbox under Julian's alias. Radiant Horizon? Not a heat-of-the-moment pivot. This was a slow-burn heist, blueprints drawn months back over late-night brainstorm sessions I'd dismissed as overtime passion. They'd gut Voss Visions like a salmon at the market, siphon the Rolodex, and bolt with the blueprint. That proposal vid? No slip-up. It was the victory lap, the distraction play to freeze me while they raided the vault. I checked the Insta business profile. Bam! My co-founder tagline wiped clean, old posts with me in them memory hold. Bio now read, Elena Voss, visionary curator, crafting tomorrow's masterpieces. She'd ghosted me from her empire. But I'd always been the backup plan guy, paranoid data nerd. Buried in a forgotten Google Drive folder labeled Emergency Protocols, there it was, Master Access Log. Admin creds tied to my secondary email, untouched. Adrenaline surging like a double espresso, I logged in, nuked their backdoor, rerouted two-factor to my phone, locked, loaded. Her texts blew up. You're insane. Give back the accounts. They're my brand. I hit record on the call when she rang, voice modulator off for authenticity. They're Voss Visions LLC. Company owns the keys. You signed the dotted line. Her screech pierced the line. Obsessed with legalese. This is my soul, Alex. My art. You were just the money man, the anchor dragging me down. I kept it level. Courts decide who sank what. Click. Archived. The office, our converted garage studio in Fremont, all white walls and drafting tables, felt like a ghost town by noon. I blasted a neutral blast to the core vendors. Voss Vision's under legal review. All contracts hold. Updates soon. One supplier, Old Marty from the fabric mill in Tacoma, called back sheepish. Elena reached out yesterday painting you as the control freak tyrant. Said you were icing her out of her own baby. Her war? Perception. Spin the narrative for the artsy crowd, the influencers who'd sip rosé at her pop-ups. Mine? The cold, hard ledger. Judges ate receipts for breakfast. I hunkered down with a thermos of black coffee, cross-referencing ledgers, flagging anomalies, a $4,500 consulting fee to Julian's side hustle, time-stamped the day after our coffee date. Each ping was a brick in the wall. By evening, the rain had cleared, leaving that crisp Pacific Northwest chill that bites through your flannel. I stepped out for air, boots crunching wet leaves along the Burke-Gilman Trail, mind replaying her laugh from the video, not mocking, just free. Had it been that long since she'd looked at me like that? 7 years of compromises, her chasing the next exhibit in Portland or LA, me holding the fort with quarterly taxes and grant apps. We'd met at a gallery opening in Capitol Hill, me, awkward in chinos, her in a paint-splattered sundress, debating Pollock over cheap Merlot. Sparks then, embers now. Or ash. Back inside, Liam texted, "Injunction filing tomorrow, ironclad." I crashed on the couch, Stumptown brew in hand, scrolling old photos. Us at Golden Gardens, toes in the sound, her head on my shoulder. Delete. No, save. Data persists. A month blurred by in a haze of depositions and discovery. The hearing loomed in King County Superior Court, all polished wood and echoing halls that smelled like old law books and regret. Elena swept in like she owned the docket. Ivory power suit tailored sharp. Julian lurking in the gallery like a bad sequel, his jaw set in that performative intensity. Her attorney, some slick partner from Perkins Coy, spun yarns of creative suffocation and marital overreach. I tuned it out, eyes on the bench and Liam's steady nod. "Your Honor," he laid it out clean, "evidence of unauthorized transfers, fraudulent expenses, rebranding attempts to siphon assets to this Radiant Horizon entity." He slid over the binder. Bank statements, audit trails, email chains dated and damning. Their rebuttal? A domestic spat bleeding into business. Elena's the heart of Voss Visions. Community property, shared vision. The judge, a no-frills woman with silver streaks and a stare like a spreadsheet audit, leaned in. The agreement's clear. Preserve and protect doesn't greenlight asset stripping. Elena's face cracked, lips thinning, eyes darting to Julian, who suddenly looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Verdict dropped like a gavel guillotine. Temporary restraining order. No access to databases, domains, or funds without joint sign-off. Contempt fines for violations and a forensic accounting probe into the slush. In the hallway scrum, Marco, Elena's older brother, the mellow history prof from UW, cornered me, tie askew, eyes ringed with exhaustion. "Alex, this circus helps no one. Settle quiet. Keep it out of the blogs." I met his gaze, the one that used to share barbecues and bad jokes. "Your sister went live with a proposal from her underling while we were still hitched. Quiet's off the table." He sighed, heavy as the sound fog. "Just don't torch her life, man. She's family. She's burning her own bridges." I walked away, the weight of it settling like wet wool. That night, back in the loft, hers half emptied, echoes where her easels used to stand, I poured a finger of bullet and stared at the city lights twinkling like distant regrets. Voss Visions teetered, a hollow shell without her fire. I could crunch the numbers, chase the invoices, but the soul? That was her watercolor strokes and wild ideas. Suppliers were spooked, a couple bailing with policy changes. Theo held firm, but whispers spread, Julian's poison in the grapevine, painting me the villain. I needed a lifeline, not a crutch. That's when I thought of Nora Hale, no relation to Julian, thank God, a rising star at Crescent Collective in Ballard. I'd admired her work from afar. Clean lines, bold palettes, no ego bloat. Her installs at the Fry had that quiet power, like she got the Pacific Soul without shouting it. Friday dawn, I shot her a LinkedIn DM. Nora, Alex Reed here. Not poaching, just dreaming bigger for Voss Visions. Partnership, not a gig. You steer the creative ship. I handle the sales. Radio silence till noon then. Intrigued. But is this a sinking ship? Fair shot, I countered. More like a refit. Coffee at Le Panier? Bring your skepticism. We met that afternoon, her in ripped jeans and a faded Radiohead tee, hair in a messy bun that screamed artist, not archetype. Over croissants flaky as autumn leaves, I pitched Eclipse Collective, the rebrand 50-50 split after probation, equity vested in visions, not just volume. I'm ops and odds, you're the spark. We build something that lasts, not just trends. She traced the foam on her latte, green eyes sharp. Elena's fallout? Messy. Public record, but the canvas is blank. She extended a calloused hand, paint under her nails. I'm in. Let's eclipse the noise. The pivot was wildfire fast. Nora assembled a lean team, 2 ex-Voss drafters who'd stuck through the storm, a coder kid from Seattle U for the digital facelift. We locked in wary suppliers with teaser contracts, Theo's gala as the proving ground. 5 weeks out. Eclipse handle the install? Nora grinned, fierce. Damn straight. Days melted into nights, mock-ups till 2 a.m., take-out burritos from the El Camino truck cold by dawn. She'd blast Fleet Foxes through the speakers, sketching feverishly while I modeled budgets on my laptop. Her energy? Electric, unfiltered, no performative glow, just raw, collaborative hum. One late session, elbows deep in mood boards, she caught me staring at a swatch of cerulean. What? Too moody? I shook my head. Nah. Reminds me of that cove at Deception Pass. You ever hike it? Her laugh bubbled up, warm as summer tide. Last summer, solo. You? With Elena once. Fought the whole trail about exhibit layouts. She tilted her head, soft. Sounds heavy. A beat, then. Want to swap war stories over foe sometime? Off the clock. My pulse skipped. Yeah, I'd like that. The gala night arrived like a full moon over the Salish Sea, Theo's bash at the Museum of Pop Culture, all velvet ropes and string lights strung like constellations against the black glass facade. 400 souls in cocktail finery milled through our install. Eclipse Collective's centerpiece, a kinetic sculpture of reclaimed driftwood and LED veins pulsing like a heartbeat. Nora's brainchild woven with my rigging for the mechanics. We'd pulled it off on fumes, nights blurring into dawn runs for boba fuel at the Capitol Hill carts, her humming indie tracks while I soldered wires till my fingers blistered. As the first guests filtered in, Theo clapped my shoulder, his bow tie askew. Kid, this is the spark we lost. Nora hovered nearby, in a simple black shift that let her tattoos peek like secrets, adjusting a final pivot with steady hands. Our eyes locked across the crowd, hers crinkling with that quiet triumph, mine holding a gratitude that felt dangerously like more. The reviews hit like a nor'wester. Seattle Met calling it a phoenix rising from marital ashes, influencers reposting clips of the sculpture's glow sinking to a violinist's mournful cover of Black Hole Sun. Theo locked in 3 follow-ups on the spot, corporate lobbies in Bellevue, a wing at the Tacoma Art Museum. But the real win? The team. Our scrappy crew of 5 high-fived till midnight, Nora popping a bottle of Willamette Valley Pinot we'd stashed in the green room. To eclipses, she toasted, her voice husky from the dry air. And whatever comes after. I clinked her glass, the rim kissing with a chime that lingered in my chest. Later, as we dismantled under sodium lamps, rain misting the loading dock, she bumped my hip with hers. Foe tomorrow? My treat. You earned it, partner. The word hung, layered. Count on it. The divorce dragged like a tide pulling at pilings, 8 months from that cursed clip to the gavel's final crack in a stuffy Tacoma courtroom, far from the city's buzz to keep the press at bay. Elena's play, community property, half the empire hers by right of sweat and spark. But the agreement I'd inked like a lifeline held. Funds clawed back from her spree, her 30% doled out after debts and fees, a slim $22K check that barely covered her lawyer's tab. The judge, a grizzled vet with a Mariners mug on his bench, eyed the ledger. Prenup stands, no alimony, clean break. She sat ramrod in a dove gray suit, no Julian shadowing her pew. He'd ghosted weeks prior, radiant horizon folding like wet origami once suppliers blacklisted their shady bids and clients bolted for safer harbors. Whispers said he'd bolted to Portland, chasing barista gigs and bad tattoos. Marco called the night papers finalized, his voice gravel from too many late shifts grading undergrads. She's crashing at Aunt Rosa's in Everett, licking wounds. City life's too loud right now. It wasn't the dream, Alex. No bite in my reply, just the flat calm of closure. Dreams shift, man. Tell her I wish her steady canvas. He paused, then, fair. And hey, heard about the Fry Commission. Proud of you. Click. I pocketed the phone, staring out at the fairy horns lowing in the dusk, and felt the knot in my gut loosen for the first time since that pizza splat. Eclipse? It soared on thermals we couldn't have charted. 4 marquee gigs in as many months. A tech mural for Amazon spheres that went viral on LinkedIn. Nora's textiles draping a wedding expo at the convention center like whispered confessions. Urban Land Institute spotlighted us in their fall spread. Resilient Reinvention, how Eclipse Collective redefined Seattle's design edge. Crediting her visions, my backbone, the crew's grit. We outgrew the garage studio, leasing a sun-drenched warehouse in Sodo with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the rail yards, where freight cars rumbled like bass lines to our chaos. Instagram? We'd flipped the script, 12K followers now, my handle reinstated not as villain, but co-creator. One quiet Tuesday, archiving old drives for the move, I unearthed the video file, her emerald whirl, his kneel, the sapphire flash. The shock rippled back, cold as February rain, but I didn't flinch. Highlighted the icon, delete, dust to data. Nora leaned in the doorway that evening, blueprints rolled under her arm, freckles dusted gold by the desk lamp. Theo's floating a residency, 6 months in residency at his Whidbey retreat, full creative control, but we'd co-lead the symposiums. You game? Her scent, cedar and citrus, filled the space like an invitation. I set the laptop aside. Hell yes, but only if we detour to those tide pools at Eby's Landing. Research the textures. She grinned, slow and sure, crossing to perch on the desk's edge, her knee brushing mine. Deal. Though I was thinking,